Good morning. I am coming to you live today from my garage after I came home from a workout, and just wanted to remind you, because I got to hear from an incredible speaker in the last week or so named Kendra Hall, and she had a lot more energy than I did, which may sound alarming to some of you, but I was like, wow, she is way energized and excited about what she's sharing. And one of the things that she said, because she was a storyteller, is it's not the magnitude of your story, it's that you tell it. And so it's why I'm coming to you live this morning, because I am coming home from the gym. And yes, this is what I look like when I go to the gym. I know some of you look cute and look like you got ready to go to the gym. I essentially put on enough clothing to cover everything and appropriate gear to work out at the gym. That's pretty much what happens when I go to the gym in the morning. And I don't always go in the morning. Sometimes I go in the afternoon. Then I look a little different. But yeah, I'm not the cute girl at the gym. But this is the real, right? And one of the things Kendra said last week is, it's not the magnitude of your story, it's that you tell it. And so I'm telling my story today in case it encourages somebody else. Because in March of 2022, I had believed a lie for a really long time that I was never going to be able to release the weight, and not just the weight that was on my body that people could see, but the weight that was in my mind and in my daily choices and in my actions. And I am here to tell you at this age and stage of life in August of 2024 that I have been living at least 67 pounds released, at times more, and I'm headed for that again, right? But released 67 pounds off my body. And this morning, as I was carrying two 25-pound dumbbells across the gym to put them back on the rack, I thought, this is a lot. I should not be carrying this around. And it occurred to me that I actually used to carry more than that around with me on a daily basis. And it reminded me how grateful I am for the journey that I have embarked on for myself. And again, I kind of mentioned earlier, right? It wasn't just about the weight, the actual weight, the physical weight on my body. It was also about the weight in my mind and in my daily activities that I tried to keep up with and all those other things that I am so excited to have released. And so I'm sharing my story because one of the things Kendra reminded us is that the middle is messy. And when we get to the middle, the messy middle, we need to remind ourselves hey, this is the middle. This is the middle of the story. There's all kinds of options here. There's all kinds of opportunities from here of where we go from here, right? And so I just want to remind you of that today. I don't know if you're in a messy middle. It might not have anything to do with your weight. It could have to do with a bajillion other things. And that's okay. I want to remind you two things. One is it's not the magnitude of your story, right? You don't need to compare your story to somebody else's to decide if it should be told. It's the fact that you tell the story, right? And maybe you don't tell the world, right? Maybe you're thinking, Dawn, why do you keep getting on here and doing this and telling the world stuff, right? And I do it because I hear from you and you guys say how much it encourages you. And I pray that it does. But I also do it because I want you to do that. And even if you only tell one or two people, or the Lord breaks your heart for somebody when you're standing in front of them and you decide you need to tell them your story, there's a reason that you went through what you went through. And so share your story. But I can tell you that I would love to hear your story today. I would love to hear if you're in the messy middle, or maybe you're at the beginning, or maybe you're at the pinnacle of your story and you've reached that mountaintop and you're like, I'm here, I arrived and it's amazing and I love it. I want to hear your story no matter where you are in it and where and what that story is. And I would love to just celebrate your wins with you and help you make sure that you're not missing them. Because sometimes, especially when we're in the messy middle or when we're coming around the last turn and we don't know it's the last turn, it can be a lot. And I just want to encourage you. And so I would love to hear where you are in your story. Thanks for doing life with me. And just remember, it is not the magnitude of your story, it's that you tell it. And the other thing I want you to remember is the most important story that you will ever tell is the one you tell yourself. So remember that today as you're telling yourself stories, because we're constantly telling ourselves stories. All right. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Thanks for doing life with me.